Imagine discovering that the man you considered your brother, your closest friend, the guy who sat at your dinner table, who laughed with your kids, was secretly texting your wife under the same roof, across the same table, while you were sitting right there. That's exactly what happened to me. But instead of drowning in the betrayal, I decided to give them both a gift they would never forget: public humiliation, career destruction, and the kind of reputation damage you can never recover from. If you've ever tasted the sting of betrayal, or dreamed of watching karma strike down those who wronged you, then you're going to love this story. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share this with someone who believes justice always finds its way. Now, let's dive into how I turned heartbreak into revenge. For years, life looked perfect. Across the street lived Mark and Sarah, our best friends. That's not me being polite. We were family in every sense except blood. Our kids played together, our families had dinners 3 nights a week, and we even took vacations together. Imagine backyard barbecues where laughter filled the air, holidays where both our extended families gathered, and neighbors whispering, "Wow, they've built something special." That's who we were, 2 families seamlessly woven together. And then, in one gut punch moment, it all shattered. 5 months ago, I stumbled upon an email. My wife had left her account open on our computer. I wasn't snooping, I had no reason to. But one subject line caught my eye: "Thanks again for agreeing to join us at the next session." The email was to her therapist, and it mentioned Mark. My stomach dropped. Why in the world was my neighbor, my best friend, my brother in arms, attending my wife's therapy sessions? I dug deeper. And what I found burned. Emails confirmed he had been joining her for 6 weeks. I pulled our phone records next. Hundreds of texts a day. At the peak, 500 messages a day. That's not friendship. That's obsession. And then came the cruelest detail. At Thanksgiving and Christmas, while both our families sat under the same roof, while our parents toasted and our kids played, my wife and Mark were secretly texting each other from across the room. Hidden smiles, sneaky glances, under-the-table betrayals, while I carved the turkey and poured the wine. When I finally confronted her, she didn't even deny it. She sat me down and said the words like they were scripted. "It just happened. I love him. I don't feel anything for you anymore." Turns out, during a school district trip, one night in her hotel room, lines were crossed. From there, it snowballed. Their plan was to divorce Sarah and me, eventually, and then ride off into the sunset together. But here's the kicker: they'd even dragged a therapist into it, supposedly to find a way to break it gently. Sarah and I weren't stupid, we both knew they never planned on telling us. They wanted the clean image, the sympathy divorces, and then their fairy tale ending. Well, not on my watch. My wife moved out 2 months ago. And yes, I'll admit it, I was destroyed. I cried every single day. Sometimes in the shower, sometimes on the couch where I couldn't even lift my head to look at her. The kind of grief where your chest feels crushed under invisible weight. But here's the thing about me: when someone wrongs me this deeply, I don't just lie down. I get up. And I make sure they regret it. Because Mark had a weakness. A shiny little badge of honor he thought made him untouchable. See, a few years back, he ran for the Board of Education. Total long shot. But I believed in him. I helped design his campaign materials. Prepped him for debates. My wife even leveraged her position in the school district to rally support. Against all odds, he won by a handful of votes. And once he got that seat? Oh, he loved it. Every committee, every meeting, every photo op. His ego bloomed, and that's where his affair with my wife thrived. Late-night meetings, school events, weekends away. All work. But being on the Board of Education isn't just a hobby, it's political. And an affair with a school district employee? That's not just messy. That's scandal. And as fate would have it, my wife wasn't just some employee. She was the golden child of the district, primed for a promotion into administration. She had just finished her master's degree because the superintendent basically guaranteed her the role. So, what happens if the rising star is caught in an affair with a board member? Careers burn. And I had the matches. Hundreds of texts, emails, Therapist confirmations. Enough evidence to crush them. But here's where I got clever. If I, the bitter, betrayed husband, handed over the evidence, people might dismiss it as emotional vengeance. I needed distance. Credibility. So, I created someone who didn't exist, an anonymous, furious friend. I told my wife that this furious friend was planning to march into the next board meeting and expose everything, publicly, brutally. I told her I tried to calm them down, but couldn't promise they'd stay quiet. And just like I predicted, Mark panicked. His brilliant solution? To preemptively confess to the board himself. The result? Humiliation. The superintendent recommended he resign immediately. And he did. Just like that, the board seat, the center of his identity, was ripped away. Sarah later told me he barely got out of bed for days. The mighty board member reduced to a shell. But I wasn't done. Word of the affair spread like wildfire through the district. Parents whispered. Teachers speculated. And soon, the superintendent, the same man who championed my wife's promotion, tearfully called her into his office. He told her it was no longer politically appropriate for her to step into leadership. The role that was hers, the one she'd studied for, sacrificed for, was filled by an outsider. Her reputation? Shattered. The very next day, we went out to breakfast for our son's birthday. A parent stopped by the table, smiling, and said, "Congratulations on the new position." My wife forced a smile, said, "Thank you," then excused herself to cry in the bathroom. And that's when I knew justice had landed. A few weeks later, just before she moved out for good, I told them the truth. There was never a furious friend. No shadowy figure threatening to expose them. Just me, quietly pulling the strings. Today, in our small town, their names are synonymous with scandal. My wife, once the respected rising star of the school district, now whispers follow her wherever she goes. Mark? Once the life of the neighborhood, now a ghost. He hides indoors, barely seen except to mow his lawn. And soon, he'll move into a cramped townhouse, his paychecks bleeding out in child support. And the two of them? They claim they're still together, trying to make it work despite the wreckage. Good luck with that. Because nothing says happily ever after like public disgrace and career ruin. So yes, I lost my wife. I lost the family unit I thought was unbreakable. But I also proved something. When betrayal comes knocking, you don't have to sit in silence. Sometimes, the sweetest revenge isn't screaming or fighting back. It's letting them destroy themselves, with just the right nudge. Betrayal cuts deeper than almost anything. But here's the thing, truth has a way of surfacing. And when it does, those who built their castles on lies watch them crumble into dust. So tell me, what's the most satisfying act of revenge you've ever witnessed or imagined? Drop it in the comments below, because I'd love to hear your stories. And if you enjoyed this ride, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes that karma always finds its mark. Until next time, remember, revenge is best served cold, and sometimes, very public.